Before the creation, the universe did not exist. But in the second statement it says it existed concealed by something. And concealed by what? Mrityuna. So there was something called Mrityu which concealed the universe. The universe remained concealed by Mrityu. What is Mrityu and what is the universe? Now in common parlance, Mrityu means death. Now generally the Mrityu destroys a thing. Somebody dies, that is what we call Mrityu. But actually here Mrityu means the very source of the universe. When the creation resolves unto the source, it becomes invisible. Time can't conceal the universe. If Mrityu is defined as time, time can't conceal the universe. No. Time is a part of the universe. This has to be analyzed. उसी से ज्ञानम मिलता है. There is a given detail of the universe can't conceal it. And even darkness cannot conceal the universe, because even darkness, I would say, is a part of creation. All opposites are a part of the creation. The physical light and physical darkness, both are a part of the creation. And in the deep sleep state, you are neither with the you are neither associated with the physical light, nor there is any darkness. One has to really take that stand. I look upon the deep sleep state as a darkness, but the logic says it is free from darkness. How do you resolve the conflict? My feeling is, I look upon deep sleep state as a state of darkness. Why? Because the logic says there should be no darkness also, because darkness also is a part of creation. So the moment I associate the objects with the deep sleep state, the moment I look upon the deep sleep state as absence of objects, my ignorance of the objects. Listen to this particular point, I'll try to convey it. When I look at the deep sleep state as a state of my ignorance of the universe, my ignorance of an object always looks like darkness. Like when there is an object but I don't see it, it is darkness. Non-perception of an object alone looks like darkness. Non-perception of the world looks like darkness. But actually deep sleep state is not a state of ignorance of the world. Listen to this well. Deep sleep state is not a state of ignorance about the world. It is a state of presence of the truth, ununderstood. It is ignorance about the truth. From the sleep point of view, it is not ignorance, but from the waking point of view, the truth alone is but ununderstood. The ununderstoodness of the deep sleep state as the presence. Deep sleep state, ununderstood as the presence of one's being, looks like darkness. Listen to this again. Deep sleep state, ununderstood as the presence of one's being, Deep sleep state ununderstood as presence of experience. Deep sleep state ununderstood as the presence of anubhava makes it look like a state of darkness. A state of darkness. Yes. Deep sleep state ununderstood as the presence of anubhava looks like darkness from the waking point of view. But when the deep sleep is on, at that time there is no idea of even darkness. It is only presence of the truth. And therefore, darkness cannot conceal the universe. Anmiji, why not we look at a deep sleep state as a state of ignorance of the universe? No, it is not a state of ignorance of the universe. It is not a state of our ignorance about the universe. It is a state of freedom from the universe. You have to hear this. Deep sleep state is not a state of ignorance about the objects. Because when the object itself is not there, how can you say? There's an ignorance. I know, it takes, maybe after I repeat 1,000 times, after the 1,000 times one registers this great beautiful Bhashikara's Vakya. Hey, don't look at deep sleep state as a state of ignorance about the objects. It is a state of freedom from the objects. It is a state of freedom thing. It is not a state of ignorance about time. It is not a state of darkness about the world. It is a state of freedom from the world. It is a state of freedom from the world. Freedom from the world after waking up, one does not look at sleep as a state of freedom from the universe. One looks at it as a state of ignorance about the universe. It looks like darkness. Darkness is born of my definition of deep sleep. बहुत बड़ी बात है. Darkness is the result of my definition of deep sleep. If I look at deep sleep as a state of ignorance about the world, then it looks like darkness. But it is not a state of ignorance about the objects. It is not a state of ignorance about the time and space and the mind and the body. It is a state of freedom. Advaita avastha it is. It is a non-dual avastha. Thus, if the universe existed concealed by something, it is not the time that concealed or darkness that concealed. In fact, it is the very source that concealed it. What does it mean? It has resolved. It has become unmanifest in the source. The unmanifest state of the universe inside its own source is what is called the mrityu. Okay. Yena avriyate yaccha avriyate tada navakshat mrityuna eva yadam avritamiti. If it were true, this is what we were doing in the previous class. If it were true, there was indeed nothing, there was indeed shunyam. If this were true, then the Shruti would not have said the universe was but concealed. There was mrityu but concealing the universe. The Shruti would not have said. If there was universe concealed by mrityu, then definitely it is not a state of shunyam. Next sentence. Bhagavan Shiva is called Mrityunjaya. He is called Mrityunjaya. Do you know why? He is the one who has conquered Mrityu. Why? The one who conquers the Mrityu is the one unto whom everything resolves. A Layasthanam cannot have Laya. Shiva is Layasthanam. Layasthanam can't have Laya. Are you able to follow? Where everything resolves, that can't resolve. Bhagavan Shiva is called Mrityunjaya, the one who has conquered death. And don't look upon conquering death as some kind of big tapasya or anything. Conquering death means that is freedom from death. Bhagavan Srishti, Bhagavan Vishnu, Bhagavan Brahma, Brahmaji is the source of creation and therefore himself is not created. Bhagavan Vishnu is the sustainer, therefore he doesn't require to be sustained. Bhagavan Shiva is the resolving point, therefore he doesn't get resolved. What is wrong in these beautiful connotations? What is wrong in that? Vedic culture cannot be only Tattvamasi. You can't say only Tattvamasi is Vedic culture. In fact, anything, it just really that one vision takes 1,000 forms. That one vision is conveyed by so many symbols. That one vision is conveyed by so many forms. That one vision is conveyed by so many details. All those details are a part of that vision. The various forms that come up in time, the various forms that human beings can think just to convey that vision, become a part of the culture of that vision. What is wrong in that? Then alone the culture becomes very colorful. I am not against it. I don't believe that you should only have only one culture called Tattvamasi, bas. That thou art. I say life is 100 years. It should be colorful also. It should be colorful also. And the temples convey that one vision. If there are flaws in the temples, it is not a fault of that vision. It is not the fault of the intention with which the temples were created. If there is somebody living in a temple and he is corrupt, let us say, now you can't say the whole temple, dismiss the temple. Throwing the baby with the bath water, is it not done really in life? Is it not done? This is what we do. And there also we have to do the viveka between bath water and baby. Atma anatma viveka. You have to do. Otherwise you will always say temples are all bad, therefore just disown them. I say certain wrongs that happen in a temple, don't ascribe them to the principle of a temple. Ascribe them to the individuals. You will be less reactive. You will be less bitter. You can be critical of those who are inside the temple, and still you can go to the temple. But generally what happens, if there is some wrong in a temple, then we say all temples are like that. Yes, all Swamis are like that, leave it. A Vedanta bhi aise hai, chhod. Thus, anyway, coming back to the topic, Brahma being the source of creation, cannot be created, Vishnu is the sustainer, himself need not be sustained. Shiva himself being the resolving point, can't get resolved. As someone who can't be resolved is called Mrityunjaya. That is the Japaji. Maha Mrityunjaya Japa. Why? There is a beautiful thing in it. Om Triyambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshiya Mamritat. May you liberate me effortlessly from this sense of fear of death. Who is really invoked? The very source. Meaning what? Guide me to understand the source. Guide me to understand the source. And there my problems get resolved. And when my problems get resolved, I don't get resolved. Only my problems get resolved. Because the self is something that cannot be resolved. Therefore, like if you want wealth, you worship the same truth as Bhagavan Vishnu, as the sustainer. If you want really the Vidya, you worship Brahmaji and Saraswati, the same truth as the bestower of knowledge. You worship Bhagavan Vishnu as the bestower of wealth. You worship Shivaji as the bestower of freedom from fear. Mrityunjaya. Therefore, is it not colorful really, objectively looking at? Therefore, there is nothing wrong with Vedic. Vedic culture properly understood is very beautiful. If you are an insider of Vedic culture and outsider of Vedic culture, that is immaterial, because nobody is insider, nobody is an outsider, everybody is only within God's creation, and everybody has a right to happiness. Who is an insider to happiness, Ji? Who is an insider to the love for happiness? Who is an insider, who is an outsider to the love for happiness? All these things disappear for a thinking man. And therefore, all these various things are a part of a very colorful culture, but ununderstood. And certain aberrations that we have in the society, they are not a part of Vedic vision. They are a part of human bias. Don't think. It is very amazing and amusing to me. It is very, very amusing to me that people ascribe these aberrations to Vedic culture as if human beings are perfect. Amazing, Ji. It is amusing. As a human beings are good enough to express their bias and create aberrations. The moment you say the aberrations are due to the Vedic vision, I say, do you mean to say you require a Vedic vision for that? Human beings by themselves can cause aberrations. Anyway, coming back to the topic. Thus, the very truth is called Mrityuhu. The very resolving point is Mrityuhu. For the universe, there is a resolution. That resolution is called Mrityu. The process of resolution is Mrityuhu. And where it resolves is also Mrityu. A resolution is Mrityuhu. The resolving point is also Mrityuhu. Thus, before the creation, have this understanding. What was there? The universe was there as the unmanifest in the universe, resolved in the universe, resolved in the source. And if the universe remained unmanifest in the source, then there were two things called the unmanifest universe plus the source. Why can't the Shastra say directly? ये पूरा चक्कर नहीं होता अगर शास्त्र सीधा कह देता हमको. I say this is सीधा, मृत्यु is a सीधा. The resolution of where everything resolves, where everything disappears, that is mrityu. Truth is mrityu, the resolving point of everything. Navakshat tada navakshat Mrityunaye vidamavrutamiti nahi bhavati. The next sentence. Nahi bhavati, it is not. There is no such a thing. A non-existent something cannot conceal another non-existent thing. Only an existent something can conceal another existent thing. One existent thing can conceal another existent thing. One non-existent thing cannot conceal another non-existent. We have great examples for non-existent. I'm going to give you some technical terms right now. Truth is Paramarthika Satyam. It is Satyam. The universe is Vyavaharika Satyam, means Mithya. The other language is Brahman is Sat, Jagat is Mithya or Asat. The word Asat means Mithya. The false, looking like real. The false looking like real is called Asat. Asat is a word in Shastra used in the sense of Mithya. You have to follow it. You did not register it. Asat is a word that is used to convey something that is Mithya. When I see the rope and snake that appears is called Mithya. Rajju is Satyam. Or we can say Rajju is Sat or Satyam and Sarpa is Mithya or Asat. Either we say Satya, Mithya, or we say Sat and Asat. Pick up the pairs. Brahman is Sat, Jagat is Asat. Now I am going to ask you questions and test your intelligence. Sky flower, what is it? Sat or Asat? Rama, 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 Rama. Sri Ramachandra. हे अयोध्या वासी श्री रामचंद्र मैं क्या करूं? Gagana Pushpa, there is a flower that grows in the sky. There is no such a thing called. This is neither Sat nor Mithya. It is Tucham. Tucham means totally non-existent. Totally non-existent. Supposing I see a Gagana Pushpam suddenly in the sky, then that would be Mithya. That means an empty sky, a clear, like blueness. What is blueness in the sky? It is not Sat, but it is Asat, Mithya. Why? It is seen. Because it is seen it is seen to be real without being real. Therefore it is Mithya. Another word for Mithya is Asat. You have to rattle these words. What is the son of a barren woman? The son of a barren woman who is not there is neither Sat, is nor Mithya. It is Tucham. Tucham means totally non-existent. I can't call it an error. It is non-existent. Blueness in the sky is an error in perception. Snake in the rope is an error in perception. And mirage water is an error in perception. Adhyas. But a barren woman's son who never gave birth to, a woman who never gave birth to her son, and the son is not there, and if you make a reference to the son of a woman who never gave birth to a son, that son, who is he? An error? No, it is non-existent. Vandhyaputra is an example for the totally non-existent. Gagana Pushpam is an example for the totally non-existent. Don't call it as error. The moment you say error, then it becomes what? Mithya, asat. Table. Calling the wood as a table. What is the table? An error in judgment. That is asat. Table is asat. Wood is sat. Clay is sat. The pot is asat. Get familiar with this beautiful terminology. Brahman is sat. Jagat is asat or mithya. What about Vandhyaputra? Tucham, totally non-existent. Gagana Pushpam, totally non-existent. And now Bhashikara says, now you see, to do that one line, you have to give so many details. Otherwise, what do you know all this? आपको तो मालूम नहीं, हमको तो कुछ काम नहीं, पढ़ते रहते हैं, हमको मालूम हो जाता है. आपको कहाँ से मालूम हुआ? ये सब बताना पड़ता है. नहीं भवति, it cannot happen. Gagana kusuma channaha, concealed by the sky flower. Vandhyaputraha iti, a Vandhyaputra. You can't say Vandhyaputra remains concealed by Gagana Pushpam. One non-existent thing cannot remain concealed by another non-existent. If the universe remained concealed by the Mrityu, that means neither Mrityu nor the universe were tucham. There was something called the universe and there was something called the concealer. The present gets concealed by the present, not the absent gets concealed by the absent. I hope I have conveyed this. The totally non-existent like a sky flower. Can you make a statement? The Gagana Pushpam remains concealed by Vandhyaputra or Vandhyaputra remains concealed by Gagana Pushpam? Why? Because both are non-existent. Even to be concealed, it should be there. To remain concealed, it should be there. Therefore, before the creation, there was a Sat and the unmanifest Asat, not Tucham. Before the creation, what was there? Sat as the resolving point, and Asat, the creation, in the unmanifest state. But there was no Tucham. Shunyam is a synonym of Tucham. Shunyam means that, totally not. Don't say Shunyam is wrong. Shunyam asti is not right. Shunyam is, don't say. Shunyam is another word for nothing is. Nothing is. Nothing is. Nothing is. Nothing is. Nothing is. Nothing is means it is not. Is not. Is not. Is not. Is not. Is not. Universe is not. The self is not. Is not. Is not. The is not, the comprehensive is not, the all-comprehensive is not, according to them is Shunyam. You see, what is Vandhyaputra? Is or is not? Vanjhaputra is or is not? Is not. Gagana Pushpa? Is not. Square circle? Is not. And according to the Buddhists, what is Shunyam? The universe is not. The source is not. Object is not. Subject is not. Is not. Is not. Is not. Total emptiness is called Shunya. But we can't think of such a situation before the creation. Because if there is something called is not, then what is the proof of it? For the is, the proof must be knowledge. For the is not also, the proof must be knowledge. I say there are 5 elements. The proof is my knowledge. I say there is no 6th element. The proof is only my knowledge. How can we discount this thing? It's a very disarming thing. The proof is only the knowledge. I am aware of it. What else can be the proof? If jnanam is not the pramanam, then what else is the pramanam? Even in courts of law we follow this eyewitness. That there are 5 elements, what is the proof? My knowledge. I see them. And the 6th element is not there, what is the proof? I see. I see it is not. I see that it is not. I see that it is not. I see it is not. Even ultimately not seeing boils down to seeing. I see that I don't see. Why there is no 6th element? I don't see it. And that I don't see, what is the proof? I see. Therefore, if you say is not, fundamentally everything is not. What is the proof? The Buddhist also has to say, it's my knowledge. And the one whose knowledge it is. Supposing the Buddhist were to say, it's not my knowledge, it is my inference, then the existence of the inferer is. If the Buddhist were to say, it is not my inference, it is my belief, then as a believer, nothing. You have to resort to either knowledge as the proof, or inference as the proof, or sense perception as the proof, or at least a belief as the proof, or even imagination as the proof. But in whatever way you resort to any of these methods, but anyway the believer is there, the imaginer is there, the seer is there, the perceiver is there, the understander is there, the witness is there. How do you really bypass it? It is for every student to take up this responsibility. How do we really, what is it that we can advance as the ultimate proof? An unquestionable proof, what can we advance? An unquestionable proof, what can we advance as an unquestionable, undebatable, unquestionable proof? It can only be the knowledge. Jnaptihi, as Bhagavan says it. Jnaptihi, knowledge. I am aware of it. That is the only proof. Even the proof of awareness is only awareness. And I am aware that I am aware. It is self-evident. It is self-proved. Everything is proved by my knowledge. Whereas my knowledge is self-proved. Thus Buddhism was negated. You see, we can't go by, as a student of truth, you can't be taken in by emotions. You can't be overwhelmed by emotions. A student of truth should not come under illogical emotions, illegitimate emotions. Emotion is good as long as it conforms to the truth gene. Otherwise, emotion can't be enjoyed, you suffer it. Any emotion that doesn't conform to the truth is definitely, you suffer it. Even though we call them emotions, now I am going to tell you something very, 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 very critical. What we describe as emotions, please understand, all of them really except in the mind of a thinking person, mostly in other minds, the emotions are contrary to the truth. Only in the mind of a thinking person, there are emotions that conform to the truth. Compassion to a suffering man, it conforms to dharma. And if there is an emotion that conforms to dharma, it also conforms to the truth. Otherwise, by and large, emotions are contrary to the truth, and people generally suffer. We suffer emotions. And what we describe as emotions, this is what I wanted to say. They are also adhyasa, they are also errors. Technically they are errors, shobhanadhyasa. Therefore, sir, now coming back to the point, a sky flower can't conceal Vandhyaputra, or a Vandhyaputra can't conceal a sky flower, because both of them are non-existent. If the Mrityu concealed the universe, then the universe was there, not as Tucham, but as Asat, all right. And Mrityu was there as the resolving point. It is not totally non-existent, it exists as unmanifest. Lot of discussion is required in this. There is a difference between, I hope I will try to convey it. Let me touch the last bit of it. You know, I can say Vandhyaputra is non-existent. A sky flower is non-existent. I can say it is non-existent. When I see mirage water, even though fundamentally that is also non-existent, but the non-existence of mirage water and the non-existence of a sky flower, there is a difference. The mirage it is non-existent, but actually we can't simply call it is non-existent, we call it as sand. What looks water is sand. Understand? I can't really reduce mirage water to non-existence. I can reduce it to sand. It's a very huge thing in Shastra. When we talk to Shunyavadis, this particular point is very important. We can't reduce Asat to Shunyam, Asat to non-existence. We can reduce Asat to Sat. Did you follow this? We can reduce Mithya to Satyam. We can't reduce Mithya to non-existence. Are you able to follow this? Whereas the idea of the Vandhyaputra, the idea of the sky flower can be dismissed as I can't reduce it to something present. The non-existent sky flower can't be reduced to something present. बहुत ही बड़ी बात है. Vandhyaputra cannot be reduced to something present, whereas mirage can be reduced to something present. Similarly, the universe cannot be reduced to non-existence. The universe can be reduced to something present, called the Sat, the truth. The universe can be reduced to Bhagavan. That Bhagavan to whom it can be reduced is Mrityu. And the name and form of the universe remains unmanifest. Thus, my dear Shunyavadi, when the Shruti has said, before the creation, the universe was but concealed by Mrityu, the topic is great Siddhanta, the great Vedanta is being taught. There is nothing mystical also. If somebody, instead of studying Vedanta very seriously, instead of listening to it with great patience, if he takes up a book and underlines with red pencil, what is this Mrityu? It is all really very mystical वगैरह कुछ समझ में नहीं आता है. कैसे समझ में आएंगे जी? आप बताएं. You just think objectively. A person, he takes before he takes up the Vedanta book, he looks for the red pencil. The red lead pencil. To put questions. ये समझ में नहीं आता, ये समझ में नहीं आता, ये समझ में नहीं आता. He says line number 1 समझ में नहीं आता है. Line number 2 समझ में नहीं आता है. In between also he says समझ में नहीं आता है. Between the lines also समझ में नहीं आता है. That is why I think this is the best opportunity for you to understand one great thing. It is very unfair. It is not possible for a person to pick up Vedanta and understand it. Please. It is not possible for a human being, however scholarly he may be. It is not possible for a scientist even. It is not possible even for a scientist to pick up Vedantic book and read it and understand. It's not possible. You have to have that sympathy. How true it is. And you read Vedanta and if you don't follow it, then you say, कुछ भी नहीं है. ये तो कुछ भी नहीं है. मैंने तो पढ़ लिया. छांदोग्य का वो भी पढ़ लिया. बृहदारण्यक का वो भी पढ़ लिया. हमारे स्वामी जी का नोट्स वो भी पढ़ लिया. आस्था वगैरह वो सब पहले ही हो गया. सब पढ़ लिया है जी. कुछ नहीं है. कुछ नहीं. That is why when in view of all these truths, in view of all these realities, I would like to say, it is sheer God's grace that creates in you abiding interest to study. Just see what it is talking. Just see what is this Vedanta talking. That abiding interest to just to see what it is talking. We'll find out the truth in time, but let me see whether what it says makes sense. Hey, if it makes sense, if I see the sense of it, then I have seen the truth. But where is the patience? That is why they say, all this remained concealed by death. They will say, कुछ समझ में नहीं आता है. Okay. Braviti cha. Ashikara says, sir, this very Upanishad he is going to say in future. In the coming sections it is going to say, Braviti cha. Mrityuna yeva idam avritam asititi. But it does say, not will say, sorry. Braviti cha, it does say that the universe remains concealed by Mrityu. If there is something concealed and if there is something concealing, then both must be present. They are not like Gagana Pushpam. They are not like Vandhyaputra. If they were like Vandhyaputra and Gagana Pushpam, then it would be Shunyam. The Shunyam means like Gagana Pushpam. The idea. A very, very beautiful thing. Right now, I would like to convey this also. What is totally non-existent, you can never see. You only create a language for it, but there is no thing. You see Gaganam, you see Pushpam, bring them together, it becomes Gagana Pushpam. You see Gaganam, Gaganam is not totally non-existent. Gaganam means sky. Sky is not totally non-existent, sky is there. Pushpam, a flower also, the idea of flower is there. Bring them together, then it becomes Gagana Pushpam. It is a concoction out of the Vandhyaputra or Gagana Pushpam. It is created by this thing. But there is a language for it, but there is no thing called Gagana Pushpam. That means what is totally non-existent can never be seen. What is totally non-existent can never be seen. But the universe is seen. The non-existent universe is being seen, is the statement made by Shunyavadi. Understand? The non-existent is being seen as existent. But such a thing, there is no instance in which the totally non-existent becomes. Then they will immediately change the examples. I want you to see this. I am giving you the very profound arguments, if you can grasp. The Buddhist immediately changes his examples. No, the universe is appearing. It is not like the Vandhyaputra being seen. It is not like the Gagana Pushpam being seen. But it is like Rajju Sarpa being seen, or Maru Marichika, mirage water being seen. My dear sir, mirage water, it is not that the non-existent water is being seen as existent. It is the existent sand being seen as mirage. Ultimately it has to go to the Sat. But give me one instance in which the is not looks is. Tell me. Give me one instance in which the totally is not looks is. What is may look differently, that is adhyasa. The is not looks is. Give me one instance. The sand is and it looks differently. The rope is, it looks different. Brahman is, it looks different. As Jiva, etc. That is okay. If you say the universe is not, the universe is not, the is not universe looks is a Shunyavadi. The is not me looks is. The is not mind looks is. The is not consciousness looks is. How can the is not look is? Give me one instance. This is all the Ashtantam you are talking, but give me a Drishtantam for it, where it is universally appreciable. The is not, Dvaitam also is not seen. It is the Advaitam that is seen as Dvaitam, my dear thing. वेदांत को समझने के लिए you have to Therefore, there is no instance in which the is not looks is. Simple. Therefore, the perception of the universe is not that the non-existent universe, it is not that the absent Jagat is seen present. It is the present Brahman that looks like Jagat. Whereas the Buddhists always give first they say, they define Shunyam as is not. Then we say, sir, is it like Vandyaputra? Is it like Gagana Pushpam? If it is like Gagana Pushpam, then we don't see Gagana Pushpam. We don't see Vandyaputra. If the universe were like Gagana Pushpam, then it would not have been seen. If it is being seen, it means it is not like Gagana Pushpam. Then it means something else, something that exists behind it is looking like the universe. In this manner, the Buddhism Shunyavada cannot be defended. It's not a part of Vedic culture. It's not a part of this land. Shunyavada is not a part of this land. There are only two things, great beautiful things, which are a part of this land. One is karma, the other is jnana. Doing duties, prayers are a part of this land. Worships are a part of this land. Mental meditations are a part of this land. Dharma is a part of this land. Brahma Jnanam is a part of this land. But Shunyavada is not a part. Brahmavada is a part of this land. I feel you can have, your life becomes different if you look at your culture as more of duties, prayers, values and Brahmajnana rather than all a concoction of so many schools. Okay, I like this topic. Now next line, Ji. Iti. Tasmat, therefore, yena avritam ena avritam karanena, the source by which the universe is concealed. Yacha avritam karyam, and what is concealed, the creation. Pragutpattehe, before the creation. Tadubhayam asid, both dono the. The concealed was, the concealer was. Shrutehe pramanyat, on the basis of the Shruti pramanyam. Shruti pramanyat, not only Shruti pramanyam, very beautiful, anumeyatvacha. My dear Buddhists, you don't accept the Shruti, but I am advancing both Shruti and Anumana. And when you talk, independent of Shabda Pramana, you have to resort to Anumana Pramana. Some Anumana you have to have. If we don't advance, if we don't take the help of the Shruti Pramanam to establish what we want to establish, if we don't want to accept the Shruti Pramanyam, Shruti Pramanam as the basis to unfold what you want to unfold, then you have to follow Anumana Pramanam. But I say even Anumana Pramanam only tells us that before the manifestation, it must be existent as unmanifest. The totally not never becomes unmanifest. The Gagana Pushpam suddenly doesn't become manifest. Vandyaputra doesn't become unmanifest. What remains unmanifest in the womb of a mother, or the child that remains unmanifest in the veins of a man, one day becomes manifest. The totally non-existent suddenly can't become. This is Anumanaji. How do we bypass it? How do we bypass it? How do we just close our eyes to this fact that all that becomes unmanifest, one day it was, before it becomes unmanifest, it remained Now, all that becomes manifest. It was once unmanifest. How do you bypass this logic? How do you close your eyes to this reality? Very difficult. I can't. In fact, not closing one's eyes to the sense that comes to our mind. The sense that comes to our mind. Capturing that sense that we get through various faculties. Being receptive to the sense that we get through our own faculties. Being receptive to that sense, I think, helps a person more in understanding Vedanta. Being receptive to the sense. The sense approaches us. And the sense is this. And the sense is that all that becomes manifested today was unmanifest before. We can't say it was non-existent. Because if what is non-existent can become manifest, then all that is total, like Gagana Pushpam, should become. Therefore, this is accepting the unmanifest as present unmanifestly before. Accepting the potentiality of the creation in the source is called Satkaryavada. Accepting the potentiality of the creation in the source. That potentiality may be as adjusted, that is a different matter. Accepting the potentiality of the creation in the source is what is called Satkaryavada. Accepting, rejecting the potentiality of the creation in the source is called Asatkaryavada. Vedanta is not Asatkaryavada. Vedanta is Satkaryavada. Vaiseshikas accept Asatkaryavada. That is Asatkaryavada. It is another big topic. But anyway, Vaiseshikas, Nayayikas, they are Asatkaryavadis. Buddhis are Shunyavadis. Vedanta is Satkaryavada and Advaitavada. Because even that potentiality comes within Maya. So ultimately it is, we accept the potentiality, but ultimately we reduce it to the truth. That is Advaitam. Therefore, sir, it is not that. It is not that really. Nothing existed when the Shruti says, before the Pragutpatehe, na kinchid asit, kuch nahi tha. Should not mean kuch nahi tha. Nothing was perceived because it was unmanifested. This is the topic. I haven't seen many lines, but then that is what I have. That is how we have to continue it later. Shudehe Brahmanya Dhanumeyatvacha. At least we have completed the paragraph. That's great. On a rainy day, to complete one paragraph is not an ordinary achievement. It's a big achievement. Yes. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.